But if I had to put one over the other, it would be my dad. But to watch him work, he was in the military. My dad's uniforms were starched. They never looked sloppy. I mean, man, it's like it was details. And those things mold you. And I think everybody should be able to say that their mom and dad is their number one people.
What's up, everybody? I'm Peanut Tillman, and this is the NFL Players Second Acts Podcast. With me, as always, my trusty co-host, Roman Harper.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. That was a good one.
That was a good one. That was your first one. I like that one. Hey, yeah, man. Really looking forward to this gentleman who our next guest, another Hall of Famer, but then at the same time, I actually played against this one. So
I think we all have.
Yeah, so excited about that.
At one point or another.
Don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame guard and center, played 16 years in the league, 6-time first-team All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kevin Mawae to the show.
Yes.
Now let's get into the conversation. When I was trying to start it, so flaps. Yeah, I was a flap guy. I had my flap was showing.
So flaps meaning back flaps on the back of shoulder pads. We were mentioning it because Kevin was saying like, I was looking over my notes and Kevin was like, it's just like right before you hit the field. My gloves tight, no wrinkles in my jersey. For me as a DB, I'm like, my back flap needs to be out. Like I gotta show off the back flap. I don't know why, but we gotta show off the back flap. I was like, Peanut, you wore one?
I definitely wore one.
And Kevin has a very strong opinion. And I kind of agree, and I don't get it, but since we have you in here, offensive linemen with back flaps, yay or nay?
Absolutely not. All I'm saying is I don't want to get hurt when I get put on my back. I mean, seriously, if you're playing offensive line and you're on your feet the whole time,
right,
and you're the one pancaking guys or driving them down the field, what is there ever a need for you to have a back flap other than you want to look cool?
You want to look cool. That's exactly.
You want your swag.
Were you a Don Joy? The knee braces? Did you have those? The ACL ones or whatever?
I didn't have the big ACL ones. I had the old school. They're lateral braces, only on the outside.
Gotcha.
But I'd started wearing them way back in the day, back in high school. They don't even make my brand anymore, Because everybody's now wearing the ones, the fitted, the orthopedic ones.
Yeah.
Mine were just like 2 side braces and protect yourself from getting smoke from the side. I started wearing those back in the sophomore.
So what do you feel about left tackles wearing the back flap because sometimes the running back is chipping and they get hit one time?
It's like, bro. I don't even know what to say. It's like, you know what? Don't wear
got speechless with the helmet.
Yeah. It's like, it's part of the game. It's not like he's hitting you in the back all the time.
It's
and
true.
If you're one of the really great offensive tackles, you're not asking for help anyways.
That's true.
The guy, I go ask Bruce Matthews if he ever asked for running backs for chip help out here. He's probably gonna be like, maybe once or twice in his whole career. But no, but now there's time too. I got shots in the back, running back run right up in the middle.
Yeah.
He strokes you right down, spinal taps you.
Yeah.
I can understand why you guys wear it, but
it's just not it. It's not the look you're going for.
No, offensive lineman, you're just saying, hey, I fall on my back a lot.
Yeah, okay. All right, I like that. Okay, Kevin, what was your first welcome to the NFL moment?
1994.
This is a quick answer.
Oh, yeah, no, I knew this. I knew it right off the bat. There's two, really. 1994, we're playing in Husky Stadium for you young guys. The Kingdome was where I was playing, but the tiles fell. They fell right before preseason started from the ceiling. So they had to scrape all the tiles and redo it. So we played in Husky Stadium. We're playing against Tampa Bay, and I'm the second team long snapper, so the second half is mine. And I snapped the ball on a punt. I'm running down. Cardinal no-nos just keep looking up. I'm running like this. Okay, so here's the thing. I got the NFL. This is cool. I'm not wearing knee braces. I don't have my mouthpiece in. In the NFL, you don't have thigh pads.
Yeah, you don't have to.
No, and I'm stroking. I'm running down the sideline like this, looking for the ball. And to this day, I'd have no clue who hit me. Caught me under the chin. Bam! Went up, bit my lip. Blood's coming out. I'm like, hey, trainer, you got a mouthpiece in there? So I go on YouTube videos, preseason 1994 Seahawks versus Tampa Bay, and I can't find the video because I want to figure out who. Not that it matters, but I still don't know who hit me. I have no clue who hit me.
And sometimes YouTube, they don't put on the punts.
No, they don't. But sometimes you get the whole game though.
Right,
Somebody will
right.
put up the whole game. So I still to this day have no idea who hit me. I said, yeah, this is real.
Did you long snap in college?
I did. I started long snapping in high school. So there was times where I was a starting long snapper.
Yeah.
Then they got a guy in, and he gets hurt, and I have to do it. I did it all the way through my 16 years. Had to snap a few games in my last couple years with Titans when a guy gets down, blows his shoulder out or something like that. Hated it.
Why? You're protected. They made rules to protect you.
They weren't super protected. I was like, no, they weren't. That's a new age thing.
Not when I was there, bro. I was okay. Punt, snap the ball. I was. If you're the guard, you know you're going to get free because I ain't running down. I'm going to pick for you because I'm not. I just finished a 10-play drive and we stalled out at the 50-yard line.
Yeah,
I'm gassed. And then on top of that, I'm 285 pounds with knee braces. I got a neck roll on. You think I'm going to make a tackle?
No.
I pick. I'm running down the field, and literally this one happened one time. I pick a guy for the guards folds behind me.
Yep.
And the guy's he's holding me up. I'm like, dude, I'm not making the tackle. I'm not even trying to make the tackle. And I see this. If I look down and see that, I'd make a 90-degree turn and go right to the sideline.
Yeah.
I don't even try to run it out. All the skill guys go down there, run past the guy, and they jaw. I'm gonna get you next time, bro.
I just appreciate that you played special teams. Like you did a 10-play drive. I played. You played special teams all 16 years. I played special teams all 13 years. 10-play drive, whatever, and they punt. I'm still running down. I'm still covering the gunner. This guy right here never played special teams. His entire career, like he just didn't do it. Oh my, just
high dollar guy.
High dollar guy.
First of all,
high dollar guy.
Neither one of you guys are going to count my blessings on this podcast. All right, that's number one. All right, number two is he was the backup long snapper.
I was the backup. It's not like I was.
But here's
the
backup.
Here's a story.
Long snapper. Okay.
So I snapped in high school. I snapped in college. And I remember the first game I went to go snap in college was LSU. We're playing Miami of Ohio. And I hurt my shoulder to play. I went to cut a guy and I landed on my shoulder. It kind of hurt. And I'm like, so I go out and snap and I roll it back. Man, you talking about getting chewed out by a coach. And so anyways, I missed 2 weeks because I had to rehab my shoulder. So that happens. And then we go in, so I'm a free agent. 1998, I go from Seattle to New York Jets. Bill Parcells is the head coach. And I had this conversation with him. Coach, I said, look, I know that you know that I know how to deep snap. I said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be on special teams. And he goes, hey, Mawae, I'm not going to pay you the kind of money I'm going to pay you to be a deep snapper. You ain't got to worry about it. Training camp comes around. First day of training camp, Mike Sweatman's a special teams coach. You see the depth chart?
I remember Mike Sweat.
And then Bill Parcells like, you're on the depth chart for punt team. Make sure you're out there for special teams. I'm like, God, dude, now I got to spend an extra 30 minutes of special teams meetings.
You getting all
and then I go out there early for special teams practice. And then I got to do the halfway through practice. Now I'm the starting center. All my reps are starting center. And this is where you can appreciate guys are full-time starters that are full-time special teams guys. But then I'm a big guy. I'm supposed to be like chilling out with the boys down in the shade. Special teams, or doing extra pass sets because usually right after special teams is always like one-on-one pass rushes right next, whatever. I'm down there running and covering punts before one-on-one pass rush. And Parcells like, hey, Mawae, you like the depth chart? I say, hell no, I don't like the depth chart, Bill. but I was never the starter, but guys get hurt or whatever. And it's okay if you get hurt like the Sunday and then you got to prepare your mind for it. But for your special teams guy to get hurt the day of the game and you had no inclination even going out there, and now your whole mindset changes. And so.
Can I ask one more question about special teams?
Yeah.
And Kevin, so if you didn't get smoked your first preseason game, would your mind have been different about running down on coverage?
No, it wouldn't have been different because, the thing is, as a special teams guy, especially on punt coverage, you know not to just keep looking at the ball the whole time.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I already knew this, but I'm sitting there like, this is preseason. I mean, it's like, no big deal. Well, I didn't realize that. So there's some dudes out there. That's the only rep they're
They trying to make the
They're
team.
trying to make the club.
They trying to make the team.
I got smoked. So that was one. Then the other one was my rookie. So I go into training camp. I'm a week and a half holdout back then. That's when the rookie showed up 2 weeks early. Had 2 weeks, whatever. So I was a week and a half holdout, and we go to practice. And then we go to one-on-one pass rush.
Yeah.
And they're going to put me against like just another rookie in the club. Cortez Kennedy, coming off Defensive Player of the Year, he taps the guy, I don't even know who it was. Hey, man, get out the way. I got this, rook. I looked at Tez, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad. And I didn't win the rep, but I didn't get embarrassed. That's all I can say. And I was like, all right, this is what football, this is what being in the NFL is all about. I got to play this kind of guy every week. And that's when my mindset just changed from that perspective. And so, yeah, those were the two moments.
R.I.P. Cortez Kennedy.
Yeah. You hold
2012.
You hold the record for having played in 90 games, and there was a 100-yard rusher, and then you have had a 1,000-yard rusher in 13 of your 16 seasons. That's Curtis Martin, Chris Warren, Lindell White, Chris Johnson. What do you think about that stat right there? That's a hell of a stat.
I didn't know those. You don't think those are stats you don't know until you come through this process of the Hall of Fame, because your presenters they got to put these one-sheeters together. And the thing that I didn't know, the 90, 190 or 92 100-yard rushing games.
Yeah.
That's a lot of 100-yard rushers. And and that's something I didn't know. I didn't know they'd track those things. And so that's one of the ones I'm most proud of. And then the 13,000-yard running recs. Because the reason why is because offensive linemen are only known if you give up sacks or penalties, or you hurt the team. Mm-hmm. But the great offensive line groups, not just individuals, but the units, are known for how well their running backs run the football.
Yeah.
And that's why, even in today's game, you got like Jason Kelsey and the Philadelphia Eagles. They had a great passing game, but they ran the ball. And all these other teams, and the teams that are playing late in the year, what do they do well?
They run the ball. Yeah.
And so I was proud to be a moment of those. And there's some of those guys that Curtis Martin still wows me. He won the rushing title. He's the oldest guy that ran the rushing title at the time, I think 2003, and he never had a run over 20 yards in that year. So that means we just all grounded out. And those are the two stats that I'm most proud of.
All right, you just gave me a little bit about Curtis Martin. I want to know about all those 1,000-yard guys and kind of each individual.
Yeah.
All right. So what the first thing that kind of comes to mind when I remind you, maybe their style of running or who they were, whatever comes to your mind. I don't want to lead you anywhere. Curtis Martin.
Not flashy at all. We called him caught from behind Kurt. He was never going to run past you. He was never going to. If he got in second level, he can get down there. But if you had to go the 80, he's not. Somebody's going to catch him. Mm-hmm. But consummate pro, and he sat in the old line room with us when we watched film. Mm-hmm. He wanted to know where the combination blocks were. He wanted to know where, like if I was pulling in the open field, where I thought I was turning up. And he was a very patient runner. As far as comparing him to somebody, I really don't know who I can compare him to in today's game.
No,
because he was a bigger, like stockier back, but he wasn't flashy. It wasn't big, but intuitive and very smart. Set his blocks up like nobody I've ever played with.
Okay. Chris Warren.
He was Derrick Henry before Derrick Henry. Wow. Big back, big back. I'm talking about, and we were inside, outside zone, smooth. But he was a big back and a very patient runner. We were a zone heavy team.
Yeah.
And another patient runner, but he can break away. It will look like he wasn't running very fast, but you weren't going to catch him.
He was rolling.
Yeah.
All right, Lindell White.
It's hard to talk about Lindell without talking about Lindell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly why I want it.
Different cat altogether, bro. USC coming off like a national title game. Him and Vince Young, we were all teammates together. Bro, he acts like he's from the streets, grew up in a neighborhood with a gated fence. Great dude, man. He was a great guy to have. But it was kind of funny because he looked more like a fullback.
Totally.
And he played, and sometimes when we had crash and dash in 2008 with Chris Johnson. And so he would play the fullback role sometimes. So we had a big fullback with Ahmad Hall, Sarge. But again, he was a guy that if you need a yard, you're going to take Chris Henry out, and you're going to put Chris Johnson out, and you're going to put Lindell in. We're going to smash it up in there, and he's going to get the ugly yard for you. But,
Okay. All right.
Funny dude, though.
He is funny.
He's funny.
He looked funny in his jersey too, because you can kind of see his belly.
He is pudgy. He doesn't look like a
He
football
looked like
player.
Janikowski, the kicker.
Yeah.
Remember Janikowski? He looked that's what he looked like in his uniform.
That is a great.
Not so round, but you know.
You can see his belly a little bit. But
Fluffy.
he likes to have a good
But
time.
so he played Kansas City, and this is the one that I didn't know he had this in him. We're playing Kansas City in Arrowhead, and we had 200 rushers that day, Chris and him, and we're minus 40-yard line when we're running against an 8-man box. Everybody's stacking the box for us, and so they got bear defense, 8-man box. The dude breaks it, gets past the second level, and he takes it to the house. But he's gassed. I'm talking. You see him, he's looking up the scoreboard. You know, he's looking up.
Someone's behind him.
Yeah. But he's gassed. But he pulled away from everybody. I think he shocked everybody on the team. But
I love that.
All right, last one, Chris Johnson.
Magical. That kid can go.
Yeah, you can.
And so we were playing early in his, I think it was his first year, and maybe it was preseason or something, and he pulled away, broke the second level, hit the sideline, and was gone. And he wasn't running. He was just kind of striding, like you're doing 110-yard striders.
Yeah.
And I asked him, Chris, like, how fast were you going? He was probably about 45, 50%. And he was smoking, cruising. So he was a guy like. So in 2009, when we were chasing Eric Dickerson's record, we got eliminated. So we eliminated from playoffs. We had like 4 or 5 games to go. So then the whole team took on the responsibility of chasing this record. I mean, wide receivers like, run my way. I'm gonna stalk this guy down, and that kind of stuff. But he was the guy. If you got to the second level, if you cover your linebacker up and you see Chris run past you, just stop blocking. Just turn and walk to the sideline because nobody's gonna catch him. And I've done that 1 or 2 times. He just took off, and I'm in the numbers. So I just walked to the sideline, and Mike Munchak, my old line coach, he goes, and I'm sitting out. He hadn't crossed the goal line yet.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the sideline already. I was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Nobody's going to catch him. I'm not running 80 yards to go celebrate, so I'll dap him up when he comes back." But he can go. He could go, and it was fun to watch. And chasing Eric's record in that 2009 season, that was pretty special. And we went 2,006 yards that year. I think he was the 5th back in the history to go over 2,000 yards, and that was the last game of my career, so that was pretty cool.
And you made the Pro Bowl that year.
I did, yeah.
So I think something that most what people don't know is, what was the best gift that you received from all the years that you've played from the running backs at Christmas time? Because Christmas time, the quarterback, he takes care of the D-line I'll let you explain that. Explain.
So Christmas comes around, and the quarterbacks take care of the offensive line. It used to be I don't know, how old are you?
44.
44, and Roman about
42.
52.
Okay, so I don't know, you guys may or may not remember back in the day they used to have the isotoner gloves.
Yeah.
And Dan Marino was like, take care of the hands and take care of you. So his gift to all the old linemen were isotoner gloves, which are pretty sweet gloves, by the way.
What? Hold on.
I remember the isotoners. Do you not?
No.
I remember the infomercials and everything.
Gloves, and they're lined and they're warm.
Absolutely.
But Dan Marino did commercials for isotoner gloves. And so I was like, oh, man, they give – so I was like, that's my first, when I was like high school, thinking like they give gifts to the linemen. So then you start hearing stories as you're coming up to college and stuff. So so the best running back gift, I think I can say that we've ever gotten, when Chris went 2,000 yards, 6 yards, Chris gave the whole offensive lineman Tag Heuer watches, diamond bezeled black diamond watch. Nice watch. Didn't fit me very well. It's just an awkward deal. And then Curtis Martin, the year he won the rushing title, bought the entire offensive lineman 3-piece set of Louis Vuitton luggage. And
3-piece?
Yeah, you got the duffel bag, a roller bag, and then you got like a little shoulder strap bag or something like that.
Boy, that's that New York feel right there.
Yeah, that's Curtis Martin feel. That's what Curtis Martin wore these suits that had like 15 pockets, not 3 pockets. So that was it. And then I think in '98 is the year we went to the AFC Championship game. Curtis started reeling off 100-yard games. So we would have our team meeting on Saturday night before the game. And if he ran for 100 yards that week before, he'd come in before we broke the meeting, and he'd peel off a crisp $100 bill to every guy in the offensive line room. And that was pretty cool. And then at the end of that year, Benny Tesford, who's now in year 14 or something, that makes the Pro Bowl, and that was the first time I ever got a Rolex watch. Benny bought me a Rolex watch. And later on, when Vince Young, 13-3 season, 08, he bought the entire offensive line a Rolex watch that year.
She's got some good gifts.
Man, I'm telling you, dude. Like, Drew brought some really nice gifts for the O-line in New Orleans through the years as well.
What do you think one of his best ones was?
Oh no, the Rollies, bro. Like you just
they're classics.
Yeah, like they never go out of style.
Like for my 10th anniversary, my wife and I bought matching Rolexes with diamonds and stuff like that. But the Submariner is it's a classic watch. You can wear it for anything. You can go work out in it. You can do it, and I still have those. Those are my two favorite watches I have.
Yeah.
But then the cool one of the just things that, because I've heard of guys getting like ATVs and all that kind of stuff. So we go 13-3 that year, and Kerry Collins was it was quarterback. He goes, "Hey, I got something for you guys." He goes, "Come out in the back behind the equipment room." There was a flatbed trailer that had 4-wheelers. Like Honda 4-wheelers up there. Every offensive lineman got a Honda ATV. That was pretty cool. So I'd already had one, so I left that one and I gave it to my brother. I said, "Hey, just hold on, whatever." I come back 3 months later. So where's the 4-wheeler? "Oh, bro, I got bills to pay. I sold it."
Oh no!
My brother sold the 4-wheeler.
Oh wow!
I'm like, "Bro, you can't." Like he goes, "You gave it to me. You even gave me the title." I was like, "Yeah, but if I give you something, make sure we talk about it before you get rid of it,
Yeah.
So learned my lesson on that one. But that was the 4-wheeler was one. It was an unexpected kind of just something you would expect to watch or something like that. But Kerry went off.
Those are cool. I like that.
I want to go back to Curtis Martin a little bit. I mean, not only was he an outstanding gift giver, but he was my favorite running back to watch for a couple years when he was up there with the Jets. Yeah. You blocked for him for 7 out of his 10,000-yard seasons. Could you maybe just say, I mean, that's already super unique. I don't know a lot of running backs that stayed in meetings with the offensive lineman to see, like, okay, hey, when you're pulling in this situation, what is the offensive lineman thinking? So then I know when he's out there in front of me what he's thinking. So then I already know I'm setting up the block. That's such a unique detail that most people don't know that running backs, well, especially of his caliber, that they did. But maybe just kind of go into other details that what made him so great, what made him so important for that locker room, and maybe who he was as a person or a teammate.
I think Parcells said it at one time, is when your best player in the locker room is the best person in the locker room, meaning just a genuine person, then you're going to have a special locker room. And that's what Curtis was. That's what Curtis was. Treated everybody right, respected everybody. You go in the locker room with your best running back or receiver or whatever, and there's a sense of ego about it. Yeah. And Curtis wasn't that guy. He was a humble guy. Nobody knows what he did in his off time. I mean, he didn't just – he would be – one weekend he'd be down in Central Park playing chess with homeless people. And the next weekend he's out giving food out somewhere, but you never knew about it. He was a very humble person during that time. And even today, I saw him last night, and you ask him what he does, and he really can't. He's kind of a mysterious dude.
He's kind of like Tommy on Martin. No one ever knew what he did.
Yeah, you don't know, but you know he's not doing anything wrong.
Right.
He's not being nefarious about anything. He's not trying to hide anything. He just lives his life.
Yeah.
And he said it in his Hall of Fame speech, and he's told people, he didn't love football. It was just a means to an end for him. And I'm like, you can't go through what I've seen Curtis go through and the times he spent in the training room and not love football. Yeah. But I also know, he's a spiritual man, a man of faith, and as a lot of us are, and we're like, we operate on a different level for different reasons, and Curtis was that guy. But if you ever look at any of his notes and how meticulous he writes, like, I don't know what your handwriting looks like, but like I'm a chicken scratch guy. Only I can read it. Yeah. But when you look at Curtis's notes, I swear it's like figure out that girl in high school that had the best cursive handwriting. That's Curtis.
Great penmanship,
Yeah, his penmanship was incredible. Note taking was detailed beyond measure, And so for him to be that guy and have the success he has, it wasn't just by chance. Now, he was gifted with talent and stuff like that, but it was meticulous about how he went about his business. And that's what made it really cool about it. And everybody gravitated towards him. He had an in with every position group in the team. Everybody was respected in the building. And but he made you feel like you were a part of all that he's doing. And that was pretty cool about it. And there was no pretension about him or whatever. So for us to have meetings, so we would always, and it was Thursdays after, it's a shorter practice or whatever. So then we'd always O-line, we'd always get together, we'd watch blitz film, we'd watch the run cut up tape, and Curtis would come in there with us, and it got to where we had all the running backs and all the tight ends in there with us, and we'd just go through it together because he wanted to know what we were seeing as we ran the play. But it wasn't just in the room; it's how he lived his life on a regular basis.
Yeah, you talk about gifted and being talented. You got a special gift, and you pretty talented your damn self. Like, so your third season, you go from guard to center. That takes a special talent, especially at this level.
Yeah.
To be able to switch positions like that. How was that transition going from guard to tackle? Was it easy? Was it hard?
It wasn't. So I played center in high school exclusively. Got signed to LSU to play center. I ended up starting at left tackle for 3 years. I played tight end and short yards early on. I was starting left tackle. And then my junior year, I started 3 games at center, 1 game at guard, 4 games at tackle. That's the year I made 13 All-American in a 2-9 season. And then I got moved to center my senior year.
What was the name of the coach then too? They don't love him there.
So I came under Mike Archer, who eventually came into the NFL. He went to Virginia and came into the NFL. And then the coach that took his place was a guy by the name of Curly Hallman. And what put him on the map was he was the head coach at Southern Miss, who beat Florida State and Alabama in the same season. Who was their quarterback? It was Brett Favre. And then LSU just took a slump. So I was at LSU for 5 of the worst 6 seasons in the history of the school. And I thank Brett Favre every time I see him. Hey, appreciate you, bro. Thanks.
I mean, you balled though.
You did.
I did. My love for the game was greater than my distaste for how our coaching staff was and the losing, and my love for LSU. And back then, nobody transferred. You just check this thing or you quit.
Yeah,
and but my love for LSU was greater than all that, and my love for the game was greater than the losing. And so I just played ball, And so I get drafted to play center, and I go in. I'm a third-team center behind Ray Donaldson, who was a 12-year vet, Joe Toffenmeyer, who was like a 6 or 7-year vet, and then there was me, and that was it. And so we go into the second week of training camp, and the starting right guard hurts his neck, ends up becoming a career-ending injury. So this guy, Mitch Farrat, God rest his soul, he blew his neck out. And so I moved over to second-team guard while still being third-team center. And then we go into week 4 of the season against the Indianapolis Colts. Bill Hitchcock, the starting right guard I think he was from Pitt, Canadian guy. He gets down in his stance, snapped the ball, 21 guys on the field move, and Bill's still stuck in his stance. It ruptured a disc right before the snap or something like that. So
really, in his back, just
career-ending injury, done.
Damn.
Yeah. So now I'm playing.
And literally couldn't get out of his stance.
I mean, he's still in his 3-point stance, and I'm sitting there thinking, now I'm next guy up. So now I'm playing guard. That's my rookie year. So I played guard for the next 11 games, and then I'm maintaining the starting guard spot. The whole plan was for me to move to center when Ray Donaldson retired, but whatever. When Ray left to go to Dallas Cowboys the second season, then we brought Jim Sweeney in from the New York Jets, who's an older guy, which is good because now I got broken into the league by Ray. I got taught the game by Jim Sweeney, very veteran, just savvy guy, and so it kind of worked out. And then I got to see the game from that perspective. Yeah. And then I finally moved out I moved into center, but I was small, man. My first 2 years, I played at 275.
That is small.
Yeah, I was small. And Howard Mudd, our O-line coach, you got to get bigger than this. So I went from 275 to 310 in one off season. And that was
How? How much eating?
Bro, it was horrible. It was
like
awful.
how much
It was
eating?
awful.
But they didn't do nutrition like they
man,
do
we had
today.
Chicken George as
back
our
then.
kitchen guy.
Yeah,
we didn't even have a kitchen in Seattle at the time. Okay, so back then everybody had racquetball courts and stuff, right? So we come out of our locker room, hang a right, and then there's a hallway that went to the back of the building, and you take stairs downstairs to go to the racquetball court. The hallway was just folding tables that we put trays on, and it wasn't until my second or third year that we started getting like breakfast and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you had to stop at McDonald's on the way to work. At lunchtime, you left to go to the teriyaki chicken place right down the road when I was in Seattle. And then, so finally we started getting food, and everything was chicken. So we called our cook was Chicken George, because everything was there's baked chicken, chicken sandwiches, chicken fettuccine, chicken this, chicken that.
They had a good deal on the chicken.
Bro, but I ate everything. So in the morning, I would make a gallon, like measuring pitcher of peanut butter batter, of pancake batter. And I would get up, I'd go to work out, come home, eat a stack of pancakes, big breakfast, whatever. And before lunch, if I got hungry again, I'd eat another stack of pancakes. I mean, dude, because I love breakfast. So, like, I would literally eat a gallon of pancakes battered, like, you know, throughout the whole day. And I went from 275 to 310 in 3 months. It was awful. Awful. I had 38 waist in my pants. You know, I was like a skinny guy. I looked good. I look back at pictures when I see, I was like, God, man, I look good in that uniform. And then I go from that to where I'm now wearing size 42.
You had to get all new wardrobe, whole new wardrobe.
I went from a size 13 shoe to a size 14 because my feet spread on me and my back was killing me. So I played there for 2 years and I did okay. And I did all right. So then I became a free agent, go to New York. And I remember this. I weigh in at 305, first day of off-season training. And we got to run 5 350s around the field. John Lott's my strength coach, and he's setting the pace. And I prided myself on the running because I knew that I was always a rabbit in workouts. So as I tell everybody, if you stay on my tail, I'm gonna cross right at the line. So if you're behind me, you're not gonna make your times. So but I can pace this group. Man, I got to the second 350, I was gassed. The third one, I didn't make my time. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is awful. And Parcells is over by the locker room looking at us.
And this is your first year, right?
This is my first year with New York.
First year with the Jets,
I'm the high-end center. I was like, Parcells made me the highest paid center in the history of the league. And he sits over here and goes, I paid this fat beep, 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 this much money. You can't even make your beep, beep, beep. And I'm like, John Lott, our strength coach, old country dude, hey, be careful. You ain't 305. You can't play this. Like, John, I said, I don't want to be this big. He goes, we're going to work on this. So I got down to 290 that year.
Yeah.
And then I go to camp at 290. I got down to 280. And so the next 13 years, I played at 280 pounds.
I think it worked out for
prime
a
weight.
good choice.
I moved inside in the center, and I figured out. And then that's when I used all my Kung Fu Ninja moves. But yeah, so the idea of how was that transition from middle to back inside? It's something I did the whole time, all the way from college, all the way through. I was at O-line Masterminds a couple weeks ago, and I told the guys, how do you still reps in practice? You know, how do you get better when it's not your turn to go? And my thing is volunteer for scout team. Go play scout team, man. Because that's where you can go experiment and screw up.
Nobody cares.
No one knows.
Hey, as long as if you're a DB, as long as that receiver catches the ball, you're good. But just like I want to try something different in my back pedal if you're a corner or something like that. So I'd go out there, man. I'm gonna go play left tackle on scout team against Kyle Van Den Bosch. Why? I was like, I don't know, just because I want to have fun doing it. So in my mind, I was working tools that who knows might work on the inside or whatever. But the other part of it is it made practice fun.
Yeah.
And because I enjoyed practice, I was a guy that liked going to practice. But it also helped me develop skills that if you're just a one position guy all the time, you're not going to expand your toolbox. And so like I volunteered for scout team, and early on when I was playing, when I ended up starting at guard, I moved right up to the number 2 center. So I had to take all the 1 reps at guard, all the 2 reps at center, and then I had to take all the scout team reps at center. So I never came off the practice field. I never got a break during practice. And that, but I just always prided myself. You can put me on the field. If the goal is to have your 5 best offensive linemen, and your 5th best offensive lineman, his best position is center, move me to guard. I'm going to be one of your best 5. I don't care. And that's kind of was my mentality.
That's a smart mentality because you're going to get on the field.
A quick question. Quick answer here. When you played tackle in college, how much did you weigh?
241. I started in the SEC at left tackle at 241 pounds.
This is blowing my mind.
Conference.
Killing cats.
All SEC.
241.
SEC.
How?
I was an athlete, bro. Hey, I mean, it's all angles. The whole game of football is angles and technique. That's all it is. You know, like if I got to pound myself against a big guy, Ted Washington, 420 pounds, whatever he was, and you want me to stop him, ain't gonna happen. But I'll angle him. I can get to that point before he can, and I'll just hunker down and play leverage. Yeah. And I was a weight room guy. I love being in the weight room. Squat was my favorite exercise.
How much you squat? How much was your squat? All time high, would you say?
Single rep, like 605.
605, okay. Yeah.
And then you know, cleans, like I tell guys all this time, like, and I believe it, that you have to lift weights just as hard during the season as you did in off season.
I love that.
You have to, because that's why you stay healthy. So my goal in my 16th year in the season was to be hang cleaning at the end of the year as much as I was during my workouts in the preseason.
Yeah.
So my last year in the NFL on Thursdays was my clean day. I was hang cleaning 350, and you know, but I had to, because I had to stay strong through the year. But yeah, I started my first game at LSU at left tackle at 241 pounds.
I had to ask because I know the whole weight thing was a big
and I kind of creeped up. By the time I got drafted, I was like 280, 279 or whatever it was. But the problem was, for me, I lost weight so much during the season. So if I go in at 280, I played down to 265. So that's why I always had to go in at 290 and play down to 280.
All right, Bill Parcells said you were the best center he's ever had.
Big compliment.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Why is that such a big compliment, knowing?
Because he's one of the greatest coaches to ever coach the game. And 3 Super Bowls, New England, 2 with the New York Giants. And this is, so I go to my free agent visit, and I went to New Orleans, I went to Philly, I went to San Diego, I came to New York, and Parcells was talking about what he needs to win football. And his philosophy is, in order to have a winning football team, you got to be strong down the middle of the field. You're running back, quarterback, center, middle linebacker, safety. That's if you're strong down the middle of the field, you can make everything else work. And he said, he goes, we were going to have great teams with the New York Giants, with Phil Simms and all his defense and all that, with Carl Banks and LT and all those guys. He goes, but we were not going to take it to the next level until I had a premier center. He goes, that's when I signed Bart Oates. And then he reaches back and he grabs a binder from behind him like this. He opens it up. He pulls out his top priorities for this offseason, for this free agency class. And the number one thing was the center. He goes, we are not going to win here until I have a premier center, and you're that guy. And I told him, I said, I'm going to make good on this, and I did. And to this day, I tell people he's the best coach I've ever played for.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love when coaches flirt with players, too. Like, that's a good way to flirt with you. Just say, hey, you're number one on my list.
There's no doubt about it, because, it builds you up.
Yeah.
It builds you. And then you don't want to let them down.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to disappoint them. And that's
the good coaches know how to do that, though. I call that that's
whether
like
he made that sheet up or not.
The it factor. Like the good coaches know it.
The dude had whether he had it. But this is so. I got picked up I flew from Seattle to New York, and I walked through the Jets facility, and they had like their all-pro wall. And I asked Scott Pioli at the time, was like not way up. He was like a gopher boy for Parcells. I'm sure his title was higher than that. Mike my Tannehill or Mike Tannenbaum too.
Tannenbaum, yeah.
So they were the dynamic duo, I call them. And so I walked by the hall. When's the last time you had an all-pro player? They're like, we don't know. And it was Winston Hill back in like the late 70s, early. I said, I'll be the next one. And I made a promise that I was going to be the next guy, the next O-lineman, and I was for that team.
Is there a play that defines who you are? Like, we all have our legacy, but is there one play that is out there that you know of, and then when we watch that, we can say, oh, that's Kevin Mawae because he does X, Y, Z?
I think there's 2 that I can think of right off the top of my head. It's kind of funny. I think most guys could answer this question. I'm sure you could about your guys' career. But you hate to do it because, on draft day, when you're in college and you're not the one getting drafted, like, man, I hope I'm on that dude's highlight film. One of those kind of deals.
Yeah.
But this is no disrespect because because I respect the heck out of Zach Thomas. But there's a play that's in my highlight reels. We're playing against Zach, and I pull from the center spot to the left, and whether Zach took a wrong angle, whatever, I put a right shoulder on him, dropped him, never lost stride, just kept running, and Curtis Martin was right behind me the whole time.
Oh, like Sunshine in the movie.
Yeah.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
I got you.
Running down there, just bomb,
it was like, I always wanted to drop my shoulder,
another.
dip through it. Zach put Zach on his back, and I just kept running through it, chased the next safety down the way, and we just kept rolling.
That's so good.
So that's one, because that's what my game, I was open. I was known for my open field play against the second level guys, screens, tosses, and all that kind of stuff. Yes. And then in the pass game, we're playing New York Jets. I think it was my last year in the NFL. I can't remember. But it was a throwback game, so they had their New York Titans uniform. That's why I remember it. And so I pass that, and it's a slide left. But I'm covered up, so I take my nose tag. I got him, and the linebacker's got a blitz coming, and he's not even my responsibility. But once I locked on to my guy, if I can keep my head on a swivel, I can put my body in a position to like close the gap between me and the guard, or me and the other guard. And I saw the linebacker coming to my right side, and all I did is I locked this guy out. I leaned back in it, and I just threw a shoulder into him, and I like blew him. It was a blindside shot. He didn't even see it.
He wasn't looking.
No, and I took two guys out, and the running back got the scat release and come out. He didn't get the ball, but
still a good play.
He didn't have to hit my running back. So those are two plays that just the awareness, my visual awareness, but that spatial awareness. And then,
all right, Kevin. The NFL is the honors this year. They're going to have an award it's called Protector of the Year. So the best offensive lineman.
About time.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I like that.
So tell me your opinion about them finally giving an award to the best offensive lineman, and then I have a follow-up.
I think it's a hard award to give out because there's really no stats. Now, but here's you take a guy's games. Say he played 800 snaps this year, and 350 of them were passing games or pass plays. And my idea is that you got to filter out the ones where he had slide help, or when this dude was on an island by himself against the premier pass rusher, whether it be a tackle or nose tackle, whatever. Did he get beat or not get beat? And how many times? What's the percentage of times that he won that rep or whatever? I don't know how they're going to do it, but that's how I envision it. Like if I get stuck on an island by myself against whoever, Casey Hampton or whoever the best in Ndamukong Suh or Aaron Donald or whatever, did I beat him a higher percentage of times because he's a premier pass rusher? And that's kind of how I envisioned it going. But I think more importantly for me, because everybody knows pass protection is not a single person guy.
I agree.
It's a unit, and I think it should be a unit award.
That's how I see it.
If you can get through the season and you give up less than 12 sacks the entire year, you're winning football games. And if you only give up like 10 sacks as a unit for the entire year, because what happens is a running back misses a block and the sacks go on the O-line.
Yep.
And what it does, and a lot of people don't know this, but when a quarterback gets sacked, they take that off your rushing yards in the stats.
Yeah.
And so that damages the offensive line's credibility as well. So I think it's a unit. I think it should be a unit award, and I think that that's how they should go about doing it. And how many sacks do you give up? What's your sack ratio to percentage of passes in the game? And you come up with some mathematical formula for that. But I heard that I was at the O-line Masterminds a couple weeks ago, and they announced that they were going to do this award. So I think that's pretty cool.
What would you name the award?
I love it, Protector of the Year. But I would. Oh man,
what would the design look like if you could present the award? How would you?
Well, have you guys? Do you know what the Joe Moore Award is?
Yes.
The offensive line award for the best offensive line in college football.
Yep.
It's got to be something like that.
It's a whole group of guys, though.
Yeah, it's a 5-man unit.
Yep.
That's why if it's a unit award, it should mimic something like that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But it could look like, you take the greatest of the game. It's so hard because you got the greatest of the game in my era. I'm thinking guys like John Hanna and Gene Upshaw and Art Shell and Anthony Munoz and Munchak. But those guys, they say the greatest of the game. For them, it's guys Jim Otto and Ring and all those guys that came before them. So I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know who you call it, what you call it. I don't know.
Maybe you take one guy from each era a guy from like the 60s, 70s, 80s,
Yeah, you take
90s.
your best tackle from the 50s and 60s,
Yeah.
and your best guard from the 70s, and the center from the 80s. Because Mike Webster is going to be that guy.
Yeah.
And I say that because I'm in the Hall of Fame, but no disrespect to Damani Dawson, but Damani took over after Mike Webster.
Yeah.
And then you get Bruce Matthews at right guard.
Yeah.
And you get Jonathan Ogden or whoever, even though he's left tackle, or see, that's the thing. Who are you gonna put up there? You got Walter Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Walter Jones, Orlando Pace. You got all these guys that were our contemporaries. But I look back and think John Hanna and Anthony Munoz. I mean, I played tackle and I studied Anthony Munoz's game. You know? So who are you gonna put up there? I don't know, but I don't know.
Okay, good. No.
And I don't know is a good answer.
I think I don't know is a good answer.
Yeah,
I agree.
so,
It's kind of like the basketball logo. Like they got Jerry West. Like you had to pick somebody to make this logo
but
after. But
if you're not a fat basketball fan, you don't know who that is.
Right.
True. Everybody knows that Jordan shoes. You know that's Jordan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You ain't got to say it. But that's the greatest. For our time, he was the greatest guy that ever played the game.
Right.
Now there's argument as LeBron and Kobe and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not a basketball fan, but I know nobody wanted LeBron James shoes in 1989. They wanted Jordan shoes.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So this is something I'm really excited to get into because this is very close to my heart. What made you want to start to get into the more leadership roles for the NFLPA when you did? I saw it was like after year 4 and 5.
Yeah.
It's when you started to take on more and more leadership,
know,
more and more roles. You were a rep first,
Yeah.
and then being in it.
I was always bent that way, as far as I was my fourth grade classroom president, So
What a stat!
no, but that was so. The thing is, I got a steel trap, so I got all these random stupid memories. But all we did, Miss Sandella was my fourth grade teacher, and we lived in Germany, and I was in American school, so we had to clean the classroom, and everybody did, and it's about doing the little things.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking around, backpacks need to be under your desk and all that kind of stuff. I go up to the whiteboard and I erase the date up on the board and put the correct date up there. And Miss Sandella's like, what did you do? I said, well, the date was wrong. It's like 2 days ago. And she goes, Kevin's our vice president, our new president for the classroom. So I carried that like a badge. Hey man, then your backpack needs to get underneath your desk. Put your pencils underneath your countertop. But I've always been bent that way. I've always been the outspoken guy on the team. But I think it comes from my dad's background. My dad was military. He was a sergeant in the Army, E7. He retired after 23 years. But he always taught us, man, if you're going to do it right. Yeah. And don't let anybody else, you don't go down to somebody else's level. You make them rise up to yours. And so I get in the NFL, and 4 years I just pay attention in the PA meetings and all that kind of stuff. Don't really get involved. And then '98 I go to New York Jets. I'm sitting in the annual meeting when they come to, and a guy sitting in front of me asking me questions all the time, and I'm the one answering the questions. He goes, "Well, why aren't you our player rep?" I said, "Well, why don't you? I will be, but you got to nominate me. I'm not going to raise my hand and nominate myself." And he did, and I got nominated and I got elected, and so for the first time, I started understanding the business of the game. I was welcome to the business of the game, and it was really off the field, welcome to the game moment when I was a week and a half holdout, trying to get the best contract for this is a business. This isn't just about football, this is a business. And so when I became the PA rep for the team, I started understanding the inner workings of the CBA, what it meant, how it got there, the history of the league, understanding that contract that I was working on my rookie year was the first time they had a CBA since 1987 because they played without a CBA. There was a Plan B free agency, the Reggie White case.
Yep.
So I started learning about all this stuff that a lot of our young players don't even have a clue about. And I just kind of was involved and just make myself available. And the best availability is just to be able to know the answers. So when your teammates ask, you have a quality answer to give them, or at least tell them where the resources are.
Yep.
And so did that for, I think it was 6 years or something as a player rep, and eventually got elected got nominated at the board of rep meetings, got elected as the vice president. And again, you get a little bit more knowledge of what's going on. Now it's more about the inner workings of the building itself and stuff like that. But what I think prior to that, Trace Armstrong, Aeneas Williams, Tim Brown, Robert Smith, they were all executive committee members. And what they would do is handpick guys out of the board of reps meetings and identify guys that they thought could be future leaders of the organization. And so when they had executive committee meetings outside of the big board meeting, they would invite us to go sit in on these meetings. We didn't have a voice, we didn't have a vote or anything, but it was just to listen to the conversation and how they think those things work. So they identified about 8 to 10 of us, and we all kind of rose through the ranks of the PA, then became presidents. The 2 of us became presidents, and many of us became vice presidents of the union. And so that's just kind of how it worked. And then flash forward to like 2009 or 8, I was going to walk away from the union. And 'cause I was 12 years in, I'm ready to just whatever, and then things started happening, and I just made the decision to run for president. Became the president, and literally the day of training camp started, Gene passed away. So then I got thrust into a whole new role of responsibility. But it's just, I was always bent that way. I was a class officer my whole time through high school. I went to Boyd State. I was always that guy in my school. I was a student council officer in my high school, and then in college I was, team captain and all that kind of stuff. So I just So
Gene dies. Not only that, the owners opt out. Let's talk about what really popped it off.
So in 2000, the owners.
I already know.
I know where this whole thing's headed. I know where this conversation's headed.
No, he's got his own personal, because we've talked about this.
You sound like you were personally affected by a lot of this.
No question.
That's why I was like, I know where
this
is going.
But we all were at some point, John. And so at some point in the way, we all were, because either you're a contract guy, or like on the end of your contract, things are changing, or you're in the leadership side, and it changes the whole dynamic of your season because you're in the middle of all these conversations and all this kind of stuff. So it affected everybody. It wasn't just the guys, the leadership. There's 2,500 players that were affected by this.
It was more or less, when we have these conversations, we've had this conversation often over the years.
Well, everybody has an opinion too.
Well, everyone has an opinion. And it didn't affect me as much as it affected you.
Okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, we all got affected by it, but it affected you more because that was your contract year.
Yeah. So
the opt-out was actually happening in 2010.
Yes.
They opted out in 2010.
Yes.
Gene passed away in August of 2008. So I was the president at the time. And you can't negotiate unless you got your executive director. So I'm in year 15.
Right.
I'm in year 15. I spent every Monday either on a conference call or traveling to Washington, D.C. And I was there till Tuesday night. And then I would fly back. And so then we started, like, how do we go about this process to find a new executive director?
Yeah.
So the executive committee would talk about the process. And then we spent weeks vetting search firms. I'm talking about not days, weeks. Like search firms, they 15, 25, and we interview every one of them. Like, what's your process? What are you thinking? Whatever. What's your ties? Do you have ties in the NFL? Do you not have ties in the NFL? If you have ties, is it high ties? Are you tied to the commissioner's office? If you are, we don't want you.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. We had those conversations, and we got down to that. So then they present you a book of candidates, and it starts off with 50, and then they get 50, and you just talk about them and say, well, okay, we're going to knock these off. We'll give us a book of 25 candidates, the best possible 25 candidates. So then you got to, then this was our process. Then we had to interview 25 candidates. So you wouldn't do those interviews. They weren't going to be phone interviews. There was no Zoom back then.
Yeah.
We didn't have Zoom. So
Everybody
we would fly in to Washington, D.C. on Mondays, interviewing candidates Mondays and Tuesdays, fly back Tuesday night so you can go to practice on Wednesday morning. And that was my whole 2008 season.
It's a lot.
And it was brutal. It was brutal, but it was the best season I had. Yeah, and this is why. It's because when I got to practice, I had 3 hours. It was just all about me. Didn't have to do a phone call, didn't have to answer a question. I just went out there and played ball, and that's all I did. And so that's what happened. So that was 2008, so we worked through that. 2009, things lightened up because we finally get to a point where we elect the executive director. And then in 2010 is when they opt out of the deal. And then that's when, but now we have our leadership in place already for a year and a half. We're starting to strategize as an executive committee. Some guys cycled out because they have retirement and new guys are in, and now we've kind of built our war team of what we're going to do when we start our negotiations. And we only had a year and a half to get ready for it, whereas this next upcoming one's not. They got 5 more years to figure it out.
Yep.
But But yeah, it was tumultuous, it was tough, and it was very stressful.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And I had heard those stories because Scott Fujita was one of my teammates who was very much so with a lot of you guys with a lot of this stuff through the wars. And it only really affected me, and I have no opinion on the leadership.
Yeah.
I just would love to, you were in the room. So it was very cool. But no, I was one of those guys that was a 4-year guy who just went on my first Pro Bowl, just won a Super Bowl.
And now the salary dynamics are going to change huge.
They were.
And now this is what happened, right? So we go 2011, we get the deal, so that would be the year after your contract, whatever.
So it made me, I couldn't become a free agent because you had to be 6 years.
Yeah.
Or more.
Because of the lockout.
Because
of the opt-out.
The opt-out.
So they extended it. So you got stuck in tendered offer deals.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it happens.
It does.
It sucks for you. You know what I'm saying?
But I was like in that 1 to 2 year block.
There was maybe like 10 guys or something like that. They'll fall in that because, and this is what I learned from Gene Upshaw. You worry about the minority voices,
of course,
and listen to their problems, but you always have to side with the majority.
I saw that in the write-up that you said. I thought those words were, to me, it landed so well for me.
The minority will be heard,
yes,
but the majority will always rule.
Yes.
And what's going on in our country today, right? We hear the loud voice, and I don't know whatever side of the fence politically you sit on, if you're the minority, you got the loudest voice. You always do. But at the end of the day, the majority always wins.
Yep.
And it's like that in everything we do. That's why we live in a democratic society. And that's the way the NFLPA was. You got guys that are squeaky wheels, and they're all the time squeaky wheels. And they hear you. We're going to address this as best as we can. But at the end of the day, we got 32 teams that are going to vote on behalf of their 55 to 85 players. And that's what's going to be heard, whether you like it or not. And that's the hard part about sitting in the position I was in and what Gene's in. You're hated by half the guys in the NFL.
See, I never felt like we hated our leadership as much as, like, it felt like guys never paid enough attention until all of a sudden.
That's exactly what happened.
This is what happens.
That was exactly what happened.
It doesn't matter to you until it affects you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with leadership in general.
Yes.
Because nobody wants to jump in until they're the ones affected.
Yes.
And so the guys that become leaders, and this is how I felt about it. I'm not doing it for me. I'm not. And I told my executive committee, whatever decisions we make over the next 4 years through negotiation stuff, just know this. Most of us are going to be retired.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect you one bit. You still got your 401, still got your severance, you still got your annuity, all the stuff that we fought for up to this point in time, you're getting all that. You're not going to have a part of the new salary cap. You're not going to have a part unless that next leadership group says, well, we're getting way too much money, let's make a new benefit, which they have a little bit, right, through some programs they have. But you don't care until it affects you. Yep. And that's when you sit in these meeting rooms, and it used to be you get your rebate check from the NFLPA, Players Inc. or whatever. That's all they wanted. Give me my $1,500 check.
And so I can leave.
Yep.
But they didn't care about the free agency and how the new collective bargaining agreement is going to affect you and down the road and all that kind of stuff until you become the guy that gets stuck in the middle, right? And now all of a sudden you want answers. You want them now. I'm getting screwed.
Yeah, I never thought about half of that. But then I don't think it ever really happened until
it happened.
It doesn't happen until it happens.
It didn't happen until it happened.
Yeah.
And so it was super. So for me, it was just like, man, this was like the year I was supposed to hit it.
Yeah.
I didn't. And look, it doesn't matter. It's water under the bridge. You know what I mean? I still got my deal.
If it was the business. I'm sitting there thinking, if I was 10 years younger, I would have signed a $100 million contract.
Yeah.
These guys are making more in the third round for a signing bonus than I made in my entire career. But you know what?
It's crazy.
I don't care.
I don't either.
I don't care. God has blessed me. I do what I want to do.
I love this. I got this question for you. Because I think that negotiation really, in my opinion, changed everything about what we know as off-season football.
Yes.
And so when you guys are in there negotiating, at what point do you say, okay, well, if we're going to do this, this is what we got to have? Because now there was no more two-a-days.
Yep.
You guys that was like a huge change. And now there's no more two-a-days in college.
Yep.
There's no more two-a-days.
Everything we do, it always goes all the way down.
Yeah.
And if there are two-a-days, the rules of two-a-days have changed dramatically.
Yes. So how did you come about with that? Even including the offseason schedules, because you guys, in my opinion, have changed the whole world of what we see in U.S. football.
So the biggest issue at the time, and you guys probably remember this, was brain injuries and CTEs and stuff like that. And so that became the forefront of health and health matters and issues. Well, but they've always have been. So when I became a player rep in '99, my first meetings were the 2000 player rep meetings. Was the first time they had a change in helmets in like 20 years. And I remember sitting in there and they were presenting this new helmet, which I actually wore. And it was a lightweight helmet made differently, kind of like a motorcycle helmet, but it had different kind of padding and stuff like that. And that was the first time that the helmet's ever been changed, ever, right? And so then Reebok buys into the league in 2002. They buy the entire league out. Me and about 15 guys on the executive committee and on the board get selected to go to Reebok headquarters in Massachusetts for research and development. And that's the first time we've ever talked about where they're asking you about the shoes, positional playing shoes. But those are the kind of things you always talked about.
Right.
Because everybody knew AstroTurf was horrible. It's like playing in your grandma's back patio with the green carpet, you know? And so
Shit was trash.
So then that's where they started talking about like how does the pattern of the cleats match with the playing surface and all that kind of stuff. So those are things that the normal public and many of the players have no clue that the players association, the leadership was always involved in a lot of those conversations. And now, which I think one of the greatest things I've seen is giving organizations report cards on their facilities and all that.
I love that.
It's great.
I agree.
Because it changes the
food
dynamic of free agency, right? I mean, how are teams at like LSU and Alabama and Nebraska beating everybody else in recruiting? Going to their facilities and look what they got, you know. And now a lot of guys going to the NFL, and it's a downgrade from what they had in college. Downgrade. So go back to 2011, or when we're doing the negotiations about the health. Well, how do we get to the practice? The biggest issue was brain trauma, and guys are suffering from brain injury and stuff. And so you had to think about what causes it. Well, it's multiple concussive hits throughout the course of their career. Well, how do you eliminate that? Well, if you're going 2-day practices, and sometimes like with the Jets, we did 3 days. You had like a morning practice, special teams practice, and they had an afternoon practice. Well, every time you had to step on the football field, for every play, that's an opportunity to have a helmet-to-helmet contact hit. And so, well, how do you eliminate that? Well, you got to eliminate either the time of practice or the amount of times you're on the football field. So that's how the conversation started. So we got to get rid of 2 days. Well, if you don't get rid of 2 days and the coaches still want 2 days, and that was part of the conversation was, well, the coaches aren't going to like this. So we're not negotiating against coaches. We're negotiating against ownership. The coaches don't have a say in this. They go form their own union, but you guys won't let them because then they're part of management. You know, so the coaches don't have a say in this. We hear their concerns, but at the end of the day, this is not their decision to make. It's going to be us against you guys. And so
it's a great point too.
The culmination of it was, the only way you eliminate concussive episodes is eliminate the opportunities to have concussive episodes. The only way you eliminate opportunities is to cut back on the amount of practices. Right. And so that's how you elimination of practice. That's why your second practice, if you have has to be a walkthrough with no helmets. Yep. Because what happens is a walkthrough becomes a speed through, which means we're running full speed because coaches can't help themselves. And now that I've been on the coaching side of it, I see it because you get so frustrated. It's like we're not going to get this because the timing's not right.
It's not a good rep. I got to see it.
And so that's kind of how that conversation started and how it happened. And of course, we take into account, we had Tom Mayer, who was our medical director of the PA, Mark Verstegen, who started Exos way back in the day. He was always on the board of our health and welfare committee and things like that. And then this is the thing, people underestimate the intelligence of our football players. On our executive committee during that time, every one of us had an advanced degree, whether it be an MBA or like I have a master's of sports management. Every one of us had and then Dominic Foxworth ended up going to Harvard. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they underestimate your intelligence. The challenge is every 4 years you got new leadership on the PA side. The NFL's got what? The same 32 guys every time. Yeah. That's what the challenge is. But that's how the conversation works. And so the players will say, I think this is a great idea. Okay, let's research this idea and we can maybe implement this. But that's how we came to no 2 days or 2 days modified. The hard part, and then like full practices, full pattern, you only want like one a week for the first 14 weeks or something like that. And then you get or whatever that is.
It's like 17 to 18.
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You get like total of 17
Yes.
over 14 weeks or whatever. I don't even know what the rule is. And that's kind of how it all
I like
happened.
it. I liked it as an older guy when we had all those
It
changes.
was very interesting because, you know, from a younger guy's perspective, it was like I don't know if I cared as much versus, but then when you get older, you care a lot more.
Yep.
I appreciated it in year 13. I loved it.
As you get older, you learn how to practice.
Yeah.
You had to learn how to be more efficient in your practice.
Yes.
So, okay, I can cut back. I don't have to go, you know, if I'm running go routes, I don't have to run dead sprint go route. I just got to make sure I get to my point. I know where my point is. Or if I'm on a deep slant, I need to know how far do I got to get to the field before I make my break.
Or we get work
that kind
done
of stuff.
pre and post practice too.
Yeah.
You're just more efficient with your
Yeah,
time.
I get more time. We're not out there.
Yeah.
We're
Just
just
be
smarter.
time. And then it goes back to the modalities now that they have that they're now mandated to have in the training room.
Yeah.
And all that, whether it be hyperbaric or red laser or things like that, you know. And then of course another part of that was the whole marijuana thing. And you know, there's a lot of guys that were self-medicating by smoking and all that kind of stuff. And you know, it's become a big part of the culture, and it's been legalized. And so many in the NFL is like, just because it's legal in this state doesn't mean you guys are allowed to do it. We're still going to test you.
Yeah.
So that's why they dropped the numbers and the thresholds. And then I don't know. I think the rule altogether is like nobody's getting nicked for weed anymore. You know.
Right.
But you know, and my whole mind is like, I don't know how that makes you play better, but I've never done it before, so I don't know. But for some guy, it might work for you. I mean, I had teammates who would drink a fifth of Jack on a Saturday night before a game because it calmed their nerves. To me, I'd be like so sick the next day.
No doubt.
But like I ate two cups the size of M&Ms the night before a game. I was carb loading. So everybody had a different deal. But that's how the conversation started. And it all started with CTE and how to protect our guys from having chronic brain injuries.
Well, I appreciate you for sharing because I just, you know, I want you to know that a lot of us appreciate what you did. And I don't know if you even think about it, but you and your guys and us as the league changed the way everything that happens in football going forward.
Yeah.
Because nowadays you see guys, even in college, like they think, oh my gosh, training camp's so hard. I'm like, yeah, I do exactly what you just did.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you have no idea.
You have no clue.
And what you can't tell them that it's not hard because that's their life. But at the same time,
it's all about perspective.
Yeah,
and the
and I
generation
just
you
don't
grew up
know
in.
if we understood like that decision that offseason, how much it changed everything about football going forward.
And it goes back to, you got to understand that the changes that you're implementing may not ever affect you, but it's going to make life better for the guys that come after you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's, I think, a great leader, no matter what role you're in, whether you're in corporate, politics, whatever, a great leader understands you're not making decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
You're making decisions so that when you leave, whatever arena you're in is better than what you found it. And that's, I feel like during my presidency, those 4 years, and I think that's what we left. Myself, Jeff Saturday, Mike Vrabel, Tony Richardson, Drew Brees, you know, guys around the connection, all the other guys, I can't name them all, Brian Dawkins, you know, all of us guys, we felt like we left the game better because all of us were in like double-digit years except for Dominique Foxworth, who became the president after I left. And but I think that's a true sign of a leader. It's not about what's going to help you. It's going to help what helps everybody after you.
Right.
And that's how, and you know, I think that's how it should be done.
I want to read something to you, and I want you to expand upon it. Really put some time and thought into who you'd want to be if you never had the game of football in your life. You made that comment.
Yeah, I made it about transitioning.
Trent, yeah.
We all know there's guys that are lost without football because that's all they've ever known. And I was early on. I was one of those guys. All I wanted to do was be a football player. I went to LSU. I joke around now that I was an eligibility major at LSU. And they were like, "What's that?" It's like my goal was to stay past 12 hours every semester so I can be eligible to play football. I grew up and figured out I needed to graduate and get some kind of degree. But it's been my experience and the stories that I've heard, the former players that I've met that struggle when they're outside the locker room because they don't have the surrounding of the boys in the locker room.
Yep.
They don't have the game. They don't have the platform, the platform or the pedestal that they spent their whole lives on. You were a 5-star athlete in high school. You were a second-round draft pick, or you were like All-American college. You were a second, third-round pick in the NFL. You blow your knee out, and nobody cares. And that's got to be heart, soul crushing for men. And for me, I was on that trajectory because it was all about ball for me. But I was married. I had a wife. And then I had circumstances in my life that made me change my whole perspective. I had a death of a brother after my second year in the NFL, and my wife became pregnant at the same time. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, now you're going to be a husband, you're going to be a dad, and your best friend just passed away. Tragically, unexpectedly, and you look around like, man, this is nothing. This means nothing. And so it led me on a spiritual journey, my faith-driven journey, where I became a born-again Christian and understood, I believe, the word of the Bible. And the Bible tells me God has a purpose for every one of us. And everybody's purpose is different. My purpose was not to play football. My purpose was to find football as a platform to make it better for me to be able to have a voice to make things better for everybody else. And so when you have that mindset, you can walk away from the game and say, okay, how do I, and this is what the trust is really good about, how do I transition from a player to the corporate world, or a player to the community, or the player into teacher or coach or whatever, but understanding that the reason why I have a louder voice is because football gave that to me. And then using that to make whatever difference you want to make in the world. And the guys that don't understand that are the ones who struggle when they leave the game.
Yeah.
They're the ones that I miss the locker room. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And they go in a tailspin and things like that. And of course, there's injuries and head trauma that might play along with it. But I think the earlier in the game that you start thinking about the exit of the game, then the better off you're going to be. And for me, we didn't have continuing education in my first 10 years in the league. We didn't have all that. And a lot of guys weren't graduating before they come to the NFL. Now, colleges are accelerating their graduation rates. Guys are graduating with masters before they even get in the NFL.
True.
Statistically, I don't know if it's changed. I read a statistic when I was playing. Statistically, players that graduated from college before they joined the NFL statistically have longer careers than those who didn't graduate from college. And the reason, and I don't know the reason why, but I surmise that the reason was because they figured out a way how to be committed to something, to get through something. So now you have that mentality that I got through that. I mean, I had to go through 20-hour rules during college. I carried 18-hour workload. I had to study. I still wanted my social life, and then all this. But I figured out a way to get it done. So then you come to the NFL, you've had that success. Now you just apply all those same things to an NFL player, and then you move on. So then statistically on top of that is a guy that makes it to this 5th year in the NFL statistically has a better chance of making it to year 10 than the guy that only makes it that doesn't get to year 5. You know what I'm saying? So if you get to year 2, your statistics to get to year 10 are a lot lower than the guy that's already in year 5. Obviously, because you already got 3 years on the deal. But you learn you figure it out.
Learn how to be a pro.
You figure it out. And here's the best thing you do. Don't come in the locker room thinking, I used to tell young guys all this time, and I learned it, I knew it when I went in. I picked a guy in the locker room that I watched how he lived his life. This guy's a 12, and it's got to be a 10 or 12-year vet or something like that, and just watch how he goes about his business. He's not the loudest guy in the locker room. He's always on time. He's always got a notebook. You know, when he gets done, he's going home to his family. Those are guys that are playing forever. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I locked onto. So then, as I became an older guy, I would tell young guys this: you keep your mouth shut, eyes and ears open. See everything, hear everything. Nobody wants your opinion until you've earned the respect of the guys in the locker room. And then if you see something, then you become the guy that, hey, young man, that's not, you're not going to be around very long. That's how you're going to keep going. You know, that kind of thing. But going back to the part about knowing who you are outside the game, when I realized that my priorities was to be a great husband, to be a great father, a great brother, and a great friend, football didn't matter. Because if I can be all those things, then I just apply all those principles to being a great football player.
Right.
And that's kind of was my mentality.
Right. So this is a question we like to ask a lot of the guests that come on the pod. You have had a tremendous life, successful high school, college, professional career, NFLPA president, the leadership from your dad, and everything else. If you had 4 people to pick and put on your Mount Rushmore, who would those 4 people be that have helped you, shaped you, mold you into the man we are talking to right now?
Tough. My mom and dad are 2.
Okay, we'll put
hands down.
Yeah.
You want to be one together, or you want to do them as 1 and 2?
I would have to put them one together.
Okay.
Because you know what? I mean, you learn something from each one of them.
Absolutely.
But they ran the household together. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like mom's rules and dad's rules. It was the house rules, you know, and however they developed that mentality or whatever. But I would say, but if I had to put one over the other, it would be my dad. And my dad's a very quiet man, but I just... If you got in trouble, mom was the one whipping you.
Yeah.
If dad said something, boy, you were in trouble. You knew you were in trouble, man. But to watch him work, he was in the military. And I just remember, now the guys in the Army, they wear these boots that you don't even have to polish. I mean, you can see yourself, bro. You can part your hair by looking at my dad's boots. You know what I'm saying?
I remember that, yeah.
And my dad's uniforms were starched. They never looked sloppy. I mean, man, that's like, it was details. And then mom, you make the bed. We had the 45-degree angle on the back end with the sheets tucked, and you had to bounce a quarter off of it. And those things mold you, you know. And then you watch your dad get ready for work, and he packs his rucksack, and everything's meticulous. I mean, the socks are folded just right, and his sleeping bag's folded up. Mm-hmm. But that's where and I think if everybody should be able to say that their mom and dad is their number one people, and a lot of people don't have that, and I understand that. And I think that's a lot of the issues we have in our world today is because there's a lot of people that don't have that.
So true.
And so dad and mom would be definitely number one.
Yeah.
I'll call them 1 and 2 because they're so influential. The next one, not just because he comes to my mind, is a great friend of mine. His name's Dino Rizzo. He was the founding pastor of Healing Place Church in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He now works at the Church of Highlands in Birmingham, Alabama. When I became a believer, a Christian, he was the guy that led me to the Lord. And I remember he married my wife and I when I was in college. And at the time, he just started a church. And he says, "Hey, I want to talk to you about this Jesus. I want to talk to you about the Bible." He goes, "Are you interested?" I said, "Nope, not interested. Don't want any of it." I said, if that's what it's going to take for you to marry my wife and I said, "We'll go find somebody else." And 2 years later, after my brother passed away, I was having some serious questions and doubts, and we ended up back at his church and had a meeting with him June 24th, 1997. My life changed forever.
Yeah.
And he's been a part of every major decision I've ever made in my life since then. My free agency in New York, my second contract in New York, whether I take it or let it ride, going to Tennessee, becoming the president of the PA, my retirement decision. He has been a part of every major decision in my life. He's moved away and we see each other maybe once or twice a year, but we talk, a little bit more than that. But I've never made a major decision without him, like counseling me through it. So that would be 3. And the fourth one, influential in my life. Man, my wife.
Yeah. That's a good one.
We celebrated 32 years this last May. We've been together for 35 years. And man, she's been through and I talked about it in my speech in 2019, but man, I don't do nothing without her. I don't do nothing. I would rather go hang out with my wife than to go. I mean, I like being around my dudes, but I'd rather go hang out with my wife and go do something with her than go have a beer at a bar or something like that. That's not my vibe anyways. But Tracy and I, we've been through some stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be Tracy.
That's a good list, man. That's a good Mount Rushmore.
I'm a crybaby, by the way.
Hey, that's cool. It's beautiful.
I'm a crybaby. So.
I cry all the time.
It's beautiful.
It's
beautiful.
Crying is healthy.
It is extremely healthy.
I cry all the time. So, anyways, but that would be it, man. And
It's a good
because
list.
it's the people closest to you.
Yeah.
Because you know what? They're the ones who affect you the most and the ones that are affected by your decisions the most. And outside of Dino, you know, he's the only outside guy. But I've been with this dude since he married us in '93, led me to the Lord in '97. Been on vacation together. He went to my first Pro Bowl with me. A couple years later, we just went on a guys' Pro Bowl trip. He was one of the guys that came. He was at my Hall of Fame induction. I remember sitting. I was at the end of my career, 2009 season, 2,006 yards, Y2K, at CJ2K. I was volunteering at Vanderbilt University. Had the opportunity to go a 1-year minimum wage deal on the West Coast, or just call it quits and shut it down. And I remember sitting at the Vanderbilt practice field at 11 o'clock at night, all by myself, leaning up against the fence, talking to Dino, and just going through this whole process. Say, this is what God has done in your life. Your family, your kids, your leadership in the NFL, all this stuff, and you've done everything right. He goes, you know, whatever. So, and then, but he's always been that guy, just kind of bring me back to center, you know, and understand, like, perspective-wise, if you claim to be a man of faith, then you don't act on emotion, you act on truth. So what does the Word of God say? What does the Word of God say about being a husband, a man, your future, a business leader, or whatever? And if he'd always had a way to bring me back to center, and then I made my decisions from that. And that was it. But Dino, outside my family, and then everything else is my kids. You know, it's like my decisions are based on how it affects my kids, who are now 28 and 25 and about to be their own adults. My daughter actually sent money back to me today. She goes,
how's that feel to have your kid pay you back?
It's crazy. Because she asked for some money. I sent it to her. She goes, and it was Zelle. So she goes, Zelle, it was a double payment. She goes, I'm sending part of it back to you. Well, it was more. I got $200 in my bank account. Like, yes. So I did something right.
I haven't gotten that yet.
No, I'm not on that level.
I'm not on that level yet.
Kevin, man, appreciate it, man. Thanks for being so candid, so open with us. You talked about being a crybaby. I just think it's okay to share emotions. And when, you know, this is probably, I told Bill Cowher this the other day. It was like, this is probably what I miss the most about the locker room, is just when I'm around my guys, just knowing that it's okay.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You gotta be real. That's the thing. Everybody wants to be real.
Yeah,
be real.
You know what I mean? So, and you don't always get that outside the locker room, but when we all get back together, this is just what we do.
Yep.
It's natural.
Yeah, and any day that you have a day full of emotions, whether I'm crying, happy, smiling, laughing, if you can cry, laugh, and have all these emotions in the same day, that's a full day.
That's a full day.
It's a full
day.
day.
You put a full day.
I had a full
You
day.
put a full day in. So congratulations on putting in a full day, big dog.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys.
we
Thank you guys for what
appreciate
you're doing with the trust, everything else. Appreciate your guys' careers that you guys had, and continue to be a voice of the players, man.
Thanks, man. It's all about your guys' voices, man. And we got a great team that helps us out, man. So thank you for all of our viewers and listeners out there, wherever you pick up your podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio app, or anywhere else you listen to them. So trust me, man. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share. You can also check us out on the NFL Pages. Not new, but YouTube channel. Just check them out anyways. Peanut, man, get us out of here.
Hey, I'm Peanut. That's Rome. That's
man.
Kevin. And this is the NFL Players Second Acts Podcast. We out.